Rick needs to resign from Liverpool Football Club. You certainly have to have the ability to work with your general manager, and I think Rick proven he just can't do that.
He wrote to me saying I'm fired, and I kind of wrote back and said no, I'm not, because you can't do that. We're trying to get on with the football, which is why I'm still here. There's a job to be done. There are big matches to be played. That's where the focus should be. This is a sideshow.
You look at what's happened under Rick's leadership, it's been a disaster. We've fallen so far behind the other top clubs.
I think the mistake he made, which wasn't very smart with hindsight, he used the words disaster on the Hillsborough anniversary. That was not the wisest word to use.
Despite the infighting off the pitch, on it, Liverpool were flying. By the end of 2008, they were above Manchester United at the top of the league. But the facts were that the tension was getting to everybody.
People talk about the rant and the interview. I'm sure that you will ask me about that.
What do you make of Sir Alex Ferguson's comments when he said Liverpool could choke?
I was surprised, but I have to talk about facts. I have my reasons I can tell you off the record, but I knew 100% that I needed to do something. Only Mr. Ferguson can talk about the future, can talk about the referees, can talk about all these things. Nothing happened.
If you'd asked me in advance, did I think it was a good idea, I think I'd have said, Rafa, I would leave it. I wouldn't do it.
He's the only manager in the league, in the English league, that cannot be punished for these things.
And it was always Alex Ferguson this and Alex Ferguson that, and he just went on and on.
I am talking about facts. I am not talking about my impression, things that everybody can see every single week.
And then at the end gave this lovely smile.
100%, I can tell you, check what I said, and everything what I said was spot on.
You just imagine this picture of Sir Alex with his feet on his desk and having a nice glass of red, thinking, yeah, nice bit of work that.
When we were going to Old Trafford, was a father with his son, and they have a banner, Rafa's cracking up. And we beat them 1-4, so we were not cracking up. We were doing well, but Manchester United, they were doing better.
In a post-fact world, Liverpool were brilliant. They lost only one game in the new year. But the actual fact was that Manchester United had too many games in hand. Liverpool missed out on the title again.
The good thing, by 2009, at least we were contenders. The worst thing of all was getting to January, February, and knowing you couldn't beat United. That was awful.
Fans had now had enough of their American owners. The huge loan repayments were overshadowing everything. Gillette and Hicks put Liverpool up for sale.
It was chaos. No one knew what was happening. And of course, RBS keep upping the ante by saying the club can go bankrupt, the club can go bankrupt. I don't think the club was ever in danger of going bankrupt. Let's face it, if they would have sold Fernando Torres and Steven Gerrard, they could have almost balanced the books.
With the situation deteriorating, Liverpool began to lose key personnel. Chief Executive Rick Parry had had enough and left. Now it was time for Benitez to go, by mutual consent.
No, I don't think that we need to talk about what they promised to me. It's just what they say publicly. So you can see the new stadium and all these things that they said, and it's very clear. It's over there, so you can read the press at this time, and then you will understand. Everybody will understand what they said and what they did.
At that time, the organisation was in free fall. Roy came in probably during that most difficult period for the club.
In fairness to Roy Hodgson, when he got the job, the club was in limbo, and I think he was appointed as a safe pair of hands.
It's a bit disappointing that on your first day it's matters of money which take precedence really over football matters. You know, I took the job because I wanted to be manager of Liverpool Football Club.
Got him in first base, and the Boston Red Sox can finally say it. They are champions of the world.
amidst the chaos came some credibility. John Henry's Fenway Sports Group had taken the Boston Red Sox to baseball's World Series for the first time in 86 years. Now they wanted to extend their franchise to football.
A fan in the States contacted John Henry to suggest that the club was an asset going on the cheap, and he should take a look at it.
There was talk at the time of administration. There was a lot of concern for this club, but from our standpoint, it was a sleeping giant.
FSG made an offer of £300 million for the club. The offer was rejected by Gillette and Hicks, who wanted more money.
Hopefully I'm hoping the deal goes through. I mean, they've had enough time now, Hicks and that. It's just a joke that they're talking to the club.
As long as I think Gillette and Hicks have gone, I think then it's the start of a new era.
It's pretty understandable, isn't it, that they're going to have one last throw of the dice and try and find a way of preserving something.
One last throw of the dice just to go down, leaving an ever more negative legacy.
But the Liverpool board could overrule the American duo. Now, things turned really nasty.
Some things I can't talk about, but what I would say is that there were some very, very tough days, and not least when we got sued for $1 billion each. It ended up sadly in the court, which I don't think achieved anything for anyone, and particularly for such a long-standing organisation like Liverpool Football Club. It was quite sad.
It's been a bitter and lengthy battle, but tonight Liverpool Football Club is in new hands.
Tonight, amid jubilant scenes, the Liverpool board got what they wanted. A deal with Henry worth £300 million and writing off the club's debts.
I am proud and humbled. We have a lot of work to do, and I can't tell you how happy I am that we finally got to this point.
I've got John Henry's autograph and a picture of him.
What did he say to you?
He said, "You want to shake hands?"
After a long period of turmoil, FSG was determined to get Liverpool back on track, quickly. Results under Roy Hodgson had not been good. Their first task was to remove him from his duties. In his place came a familiar face.
If there's one person alive today in the history of Liverpool Football Club who has the talent and the ability and the personality to stop that plate spinning and to bring everybody back together, Kenny for me was the obvious choice.
We were unstable as an organization, and the fact is that from that day forward, he has been, continues to be, someone that the club rallies around.
I don't think anybody expected him to stay for long. I think it was perhaps only a stopgap, but it was just